The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Thank you, Ralph. This is Randy Lerch, and welcome to my show, God's Miracle. I call the show God's Miracle because after years of drug and alcohol abuse and being diagnosed with cirrhosis, God has given me another chance in life to write a book called God in the Bullpen and be able to have this podcast thanks to Ralph Tycho. My special guest today is, I'm honored to have him, my high school baseball coach and the winningest high school baseball coach in history, Guy Anderson. He's accumulated 927 wins. Maybe 25 or so of those, I was the winning pitcher. But I really appreciate having him, and I just want to welcome you, Coach. It's my honor to have you on the show.
Well, thanks, Randy. I appreciate it. And you're right. I think you got about 35 of those 927 for sure. You know,
over the years, I'll bet, well, how many years have you been coaching?
I was coaching the varsity at Cordova High School for 45 years. And before that, I had the sophomore team for about 5 years when we opened up Cordova High School brand new. And now I'm in my fifth year coaching over at the Capital Christian.
Well, if my math's right, that's around 55 years. My goodness. God bless. You know, you've been a real institution to the area, and I'll bet over the years you've seen a lot of players come and go. And I know that the teams that I played on with you we had some great teams, but you also had some other great teams when I wasn't around. So you had some players that actually I wasn't just the only guy that made it to the major league. You had some real stars.
You're absolutely
player.
Yeah, you're right, Randy. We had the two number one draft picks one year in 1972, Mike Ondina, Jerry Manuel, and Jerry went on, of course, to play at the big league and manage the Chicago White Sox and the New York Mets, and then of course we had Larry Wolf and a good one with the Phillies was Jeff Jenkins. We've had some very fine baseball players come out of Cordova High School.
Oh boy, yeah, it's and you had a lot to do with helping those guys, Coach. And I was thinking you and I chatted a little bit last night to make sure we had all of our phone numbers right for the show, but. I was wondering, could you tell me a little bit, or tell the audience a little bit about what it was like when you first started, kind of like the way that the coach, the kids and the probably the parents and stuff like that, and how things have changed to where they are today. I hear some things in Major Baseball.
Yeah, Randy, it's so true. When we first started out, we didn't have travel ball to compete with. We didn't have these showcases that young people go to now, and I just felt that the young men early, especially the first 10 or 15 years that I coached, that when they weren't at practice, they were out on a field someplace close to their house. Maybe an elementary school, and they were taking batting practice on their own, or they were playing workups and the like. But they were doing things that they did more on their own, and they didn't have to pay a lot of money for. Where today, you'd be surprised the number of high school baseball players that have their own private coach. Private coach might be for pitching, might be for hitting, might be for getting in shape, having a coach for that, or it might be even in what I heard about a year ago, and I was shocked that there were infield private coaches. And so it's caused the dollar to be spent. And what's happened also, I would say 5 years ago, we had 12 to 16 American Legion teams in the summertime in this area. We have only 3 now because the better ball players, their parents have paid for them to go to some of these showcases or to play travel ball, and there's not a lot of practice in travel ball because they don't want to pay to rent a field other than when they rent it to play games. So it's a bit different, and I think that one of the things you used to tell, now you got to be sure that you tell and show for sure, because you got to bend the ear a little bit more when you're coaching than you used to.
Could you explain to the listeners about, you explained to me, trying to explain last night, the first time I've ever heard of this word showcase. You were telling me, what is showcase? I mean, I couldn't believe if I was understanding what you were telling me last night. It's unbelievable to an old washed up baseball player like me.
Well, it's a marketing type of thing they're doing now, but years ago, colleges used to have maybe a weekend where you could go in and they'd have some coaches there and they would give you a little session or what have you, or a clinic type of thing, and they did it so that they could earn money for their assistant coaches. This thing here has been taken over by basically corporate types of people, and it's where you go in, you pay $2,500, $3,000 for a weekend, and you on a Saturday and a Sunday, and you get about 3 or 4 pitches when you're in a batting tunnel, and then you get about 2 or 3 more when you're hitting live. They hit you about 3 or 4 ground balls and a pop fly, and then they have a rating sheet that they're giving you, and they tell you that there's some coaches there to see you as well, and most of the coaches are all assistant coaches. They're not the head guys there, and they basically sell you an idea that for the money we can on a weekend have you looked at for a possible scholarship. And yet we know to this day that baseball scholarships are very limited, and they're basically for Division I and Division II schools at the most for scholarships. And so I've told the parents over the years, Randy, that when this stuff started, if they put their money in a bank account instead of paying for a weekend, they'd probably be able to give their own scholarship, and the young man could still play baseball. But, you're one of these guys, and you proved it by playing in the major leagues. Your dream was to play professional baseball and play it in the major leagues. And it still comes down to work ethics, to good character, the basic things of respecting the people that you're working with. These are all keys now that scouts for major league teams now, when they scout young men during the season in high school, they're looking at the athletic ability, but they come to the coach 9 times out of 10, and they say, Coach, what kind of a guy is he? Does he go to school regularly? Is he getting good grades? Does he respect his teachers? Has he got good character? It's surprising. So it's affected high school coaching. There's no doubt about it. And you kind of have to change a little bit in regards to saying it's my way or the highway. It's got to be my way and listen to it why. That's about how it goes now.
Wow. While you're saying, while you're explaining all that, my mind was wandering when I was a kid growing up, how I had my wooden bat that I had one bat that I had broken with a pitch, and
right.
Because I only had that bat, I used to put some nails in the handle where it was broke and wrap some tape around it, and I would take my baseball glove and I would slide it over the handle, and then I would take my baseball cleats and I would tie the nuts together, the strings together, and
right.
throw them over my shoulder, and then it was off to the ballpark. I can't believe it. I go and watch my 2 grandsons play they've gone through Little League. The one he's graduated. I've got another youngest just starting, but the middle one is 11 years old. And he started that travel ball like you talked about, and what has happened with that is which breaks my heart. All of us came up through Little League. And if you could make the Little League All-Star team, wow. And then if the All-Star team was good enough to finally, to get to the Little League World Series in Williamsport, it was an amazing thing. But now with this, what you were saying with this travel ball, the kids are playing year-round, and I've heard pressure from the coaches because they take all the best players from the Little League for the travel ball. They tell the kids that, you can't play Little League anymore if you want to be on the travel ball team, and that's just, some of the changes for me, Coach, are really good, but it breaks my heart. If you think they're changes for you, and you were in high school in the 70s, and for me, I go back quite a while further than that, and it's amazing now. Your aluminum bat that a youngster gets now is between $250 and $350. Their ball glove to get a good Wilson A1010, that quality type of glove, is well over $150. And so again, the good players who do have the money are paying to go to these various showcases and travel ball, and so it leaves a great number of young men that are not playing now because of the expense of it, or it makes the teams very limited because those 3 or 4 guys that are really good ball players are playing travel ball now, and so that leaves the home team in Legion or the home team in Little League with lesser kids. And it just it's too bad. It really is, because we're getting a little bit. Although golf has gotten a little better to help people that do not have the economics to play golf all the time, but it's getting more like a country club atmosphere, and it shouldn't, because baseball ought to be a game that dad or mom can take you out in front and play catch with you, and take you over the field and hit you some fly balls and what have you. And like you say, play on a Little League team to start with, and enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment that you're playing. Don't be looking forward to going to college before you're even close to it. You told me a funny story last night. I loved it. You said that here you got 55 years of experience. These kids don't even know the knowledge that you have in your big toe that they ought to listen to, and they've been listening to these high-priced coaches that mom and dad have afforded them or not afforded them. And you said that one of the kids, you were out showing them how to wind up, or how to balance himself on the pitch. And you tell that story, Coach, because you kind of put him through.
Yeah, will do. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Andy. But I was in the bullpen working with pitchers, and we were working on the balance position and the follow through, and of course the first thing I always ask a young man in the bullpen when he gets on the mound, I'd like to let me see the grip. And so we were doing things like that, and I think we were working on the balance position. And there's a couple of philosophies on coaching that balance position, whether you ought to sit low in the saddle or whether you ought to be up straight and taller to get a better angle with the pitch. But anyways, the young man said, well, that's not the way my travel coach told me how to do it. And I said, well, I tell you what, who's going to make the lineup here with this team? Your travel coach or me?
I love that.
That kind of made the lights go on a little bit, and got, rather than, there's no sense getting upset. Both coaches, the young man is trying to get the best out of the situation all the way through, and yet when you're on a high school team and a coach has you do a couple of things like that, he's doing it so that you can be successful. And he's the one that makes up the lineup. So you better listen to him once in a while.
I just had a thought. I just thought, well, guess what? Maybe the high tech, through, of course, it all starts in Major League Baseball, and with the Astros getting busted for this high tech, the cameras and stuff like that, the stealing signs, maybe they get busted from all this high tech stuff, and maybe it'll knock a little bit of that out of them, and maybe they'll go back to the old days of how we used to steal signs. You were telling me, we were both talking about the different ways that we could, in the old days, we could steal signs. And I was telling you, I was a pretty good hitter when I played. And I know one thing's for sure. If they were telling me what was coming, I not too often was going to miss that pitch. But we used to do it in the old days where, you'd look at the arm angle of the guy and you said, just like you were saying, you'd watch the base runner, you'd watch the shortstop if he was leaning one way or the other. I sure hope they get back to that, and I hope that can.
Rand, I think I told you, and my feeling is that baseball is a great human game. You can learn life through baseball. It's not a religion, but you can learn a lot of things in life in baseball. And one of the things, this electronic deal, and the same thing with what the Astros did. It's a shame for baseball, because within the game of baseball, there is, and we don't call it cheating, there is a skill of a base runner being able at second base to try to see the catcher's signals. And, the hands between the knees is a fastball, outside the knees is a curveball. But it also forces the other human part of it, the catcher, to make sure then he learns the technique of how to hide the signal or to give an indicator when he's given the correct signal, just as he does when there's a man at second. Those are all things. The third base coach is always looking to see if he can see the catcher's signal, and a catcher better be smart enough to know how to hide that signal so he doesn't. So that's part of the game within the game of baseball. This high-tech stuff is a shame. It really is. And it takes away the what I feel is the flavor of the game, and the flavor of the game is a human game. I could get on a kick for you. I don't want to take, but I'm not for this replay stuff all the time either. They want to do a replay on a foul ball or fair ball going across the foul pole out in a home run or something. That's not bad, but if we got to do every time there's a play at first base or there's a tag at second base to see whether the umpire got it right or not, I think it ruins the game. I think it slows it down, and it takes the human part about the game, because I'll tell you, every umpire will make some mistakes, and every ball player will make an error, and that's part of the game.
Oh, I agree. It would be impossible today. I remember when I remember if you and the listeners remember Randy Jones, who was he was a Cy Young Award winner. He's a real quick worker.
Very good one.
And then the Phillies had Jim Cott, who just grabbed the ball and threw it as soon as he got it, and he just believed, like, look, let's get rid of the ball. Let's grab the ball, throw the ball, and keep everybody into the game instead of having to, like you said, wait for the replay camera. And the games are going I think if you have a game anymore that beats 4 hours, you've really had you've had a heck of a fast game. And I remember Jim Cott and Randy Jones they pitched the game in I think it was an hour and a half actually, but let's just say less than 2 hours. That would be impossible with all the replays. So, it's changed so much. Just hope that this scare has at least backed all this, this overthinking and high tech off. But one thing I was going to ask you is, and I think I know the name, not the name, I know the answer to this, is how long you plan on coaching. What are you, 87 now?
Yeah, I just turned it in December, Randy. Years have gone by pretty quick.
Yeah, but I can't believe you're still out there riding a bike. You and your beautiful wife Karen are out there. I saw a picture of you guys riding across the Bay Bridge, I think, San Francisco.
Yeah, we do that. We do that every year. We go down to San Francisco and go across the Golden Gate Bridge and down to Sausalito and over to the other area there, and we do that every year in August.
Well, are you teasing with me when you said you're still getting out there and doing playing some getting out there with the guys and playing some organized ball now, or did you retire?
No, I haven't, Randy. I'll play on Mondays and Tuesdays in two Golden Senior Leagues for soft pitch, and then I'm on the 85 and over tournament team that will go to Vegas here in September. We'll go to Reno in May and play in some tournaments. It's still fun. It's not hardball, but it is got most of the little things that baseball has, and the nice part about it, the pitch comes in pretty slow, so you can hit it and enjoy some fielding and what have you. But it's still an enjoyable game to me, and coaching is enjoyable because I'm seeing young men, Larry Wolf, you, Jerry Manuel, Jeff Jenkins, that caliber youngster that had such extreme ability, use it. And you mentioned, so I got to give you a compliment. You mentioned something about hitting. I still made the comment, I don't know how many times, you could have started at first base in the major leagues with your bat. And no doubt about it. And you proved it when you were pitching as much as you hit the long ball as well.
Well, thank you for that, Coach. I love to hit. I remember the days when I did sign with the Phillies and Eddie Bachman, and you and I talked about Bill Avila, which is
right.
His nickname was Mickey Mouse. And when I signed, I said, "So, what am I? Am I a hitter or am I a pitcher?" And because I was hoping they would say hitter. I really enjoyed hitting a whole lot more. And they said, "Well, the Phillies needed left-handed pitching at the time, so you're a pitcher." but I'm still in the major league. So
well, Eddie Bachman saw that curveball that went from 11 to 7, and that you're a pitcher. You're not gonna hit. You might hit once in a while, but with that arm you had, and that you had as good a curveball as I've seen in my coaching in many a day, and then you had that pretty good fastball that went with it as well.
Well, thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. And before we get off, I wanted to. We have a few minutes here, and I wanted to ask you about you. What's the difference now between you've gone over to Capital Christian Center, and you were telling me some stuff about there's a little bit more of a different type of an atmosphere. You were talking about even. I'm kind of going back, and I've been watching on TV how I've seen these horrible fights, the really ill-willed feelings between schools and stuff like that. You see things that just breaks my heart, where the fans or the kids are getting out and they're fighting with each other, and then the parents are getting involved, and it's getting to be to the point where you almost have to have armed guards to go to the ball games, and I think it's more in football, but I imagine it can happen in baseball. The only reason with football is because there's more people going to the games. But you were telling me that there's a lot more camaraderie, and even the kids are after the game. There's because prayer isn't actually allowed in the schools for whatever reason. I'm against that, but that's because I'm a Christian, and I know you are, and you were talking about at the end of the games at the Capital Christian Center, they're actually they have a prayer circle, and then the two teams after the games, whoever wants to be involved can go over and congratulate each other on the game and prayerfully speak themselves. Could you tell me about that? It's pretty good feeling.
Yeah, Randy, you're right. And one of the things that's difficult in the public schools, they don't allow prayer, and it's a sad thing because you can be any religious belief, or even if you're not a Christian, you can utilize the prayer in many a time that helps a lot of people there's a lot of people that will tell you right now I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't had those people praying for me. And so over here at Capitol, of course, it's a private school and it's a Christian school, and we're allowed to, after every practice, we have a prayer, and if anybody's got Uncle Charlie that's not feeling good or is a mother that's sick or something, we pray for them as well as pray to have a good. We don't pray that we're going to win. You pray that we're going to play the game and play it well. And then after a game, we, again, like you said, we invite the opposing team to come over and have one with us as well. And again, the specific religion has nothing to do with it. It has everything to believe in God and know that He's up there and He listens to those prayers. And many a time, it has saved a lot of people. So, but what it does over here that I've noticed, and I like the character of the young men that they're getting. I watch them go to class, and there's no hanging pants below the butt. Just standard stuff that we've allowed in public education to get away with more and more, so that we can just be good guys. And there's a point where you have to be accountable. And this is one of the things that is really taught out here at Capitol, is that whether it's on the ball field or wherever it is, accountability and character. Really, the definition for character is doing something right when nobody else is around. Okay, and that's a real key. That whether it's picking up a piece of paper and putting it in a waste paper basket so it doesn't blow around, or no matter what the situation is, you're responsible for your actions, and you pay for it when you're not, and that's part of the game. But I think there's a big shortage right now of that I think young men and young women both need to recognize. And when you play the game of baseball, Randy, you have a baseball game here in high school. It goes 7 innings. The game is over afterwards. Enjoy each other. Enjoy the friendship that you accumulate over the years, because believe me, I think baseball, you have your clubhouse and pro ball and college and the like. You establish some great friendships, and that's the byproduct of playing this game.
Oh, I just love that. I just love what you just said. The camaraderie of the game, it seems like it's lacking. I know after playing for many years as a professional, there's plenty of time for that, to get in there and to get in a situation where you have to win. Of course, when you're playing, even in Little League, you want to win, but we have to remember that we're out there to have a lot of fun and have the camaraderie, and like you said, when we're all done, we'll go our separate ways and be friends and go practice together when it's not organized. But you were telling me that I want to thank you, because you're right in the middle of practice today, and you came over here to join us for this show. I just want to say thank you. You guys, when you left over there, you were taking bat practice and getting ready for a ball game?
We just finished batting practice, and then we're just about finishing up here. We started at 10:30, and what is it? It's almost 12:30 now, just about over. But what a beautiful! We've been blessed. We haven't had. I know they want some rain in February, but we've been. I don't know what it's going to be like in March, but boy, we have been blessed these first 2 weeks. We started practice 2 weeks ago, and you need that preseason stuff to get everything ready. And this is just, boy, today it must be about 76 out here right now, or maybe even close to 80. It's so nice and warm. But it's been a pleasure to be on. I've never been on podcasts before in all my whole career, so you've got a first for me.
Well, this is a new show for me, and when I feel so blessed that Ralph Tycho asked me to come on this. I hope I don't mess it up for you. I'm going to get done today, and I'm going to go and look, and I'm going to wait for Ralph to say something. You're tired, But,
right.
But shoot, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and shoot, I get to have you, and I want you to be my first, you're my high school coach, and Yeah, we've always kept in touch, and I just wanted to have you on the show, and I want to thank you for coming on today. One last thing, you got any good prospects out there this year?
Yeah, we do.
You got any Larry Wolves or Jerry Manuels or anybody like that?
Well, I don't know if you want to consider him a Randy Lerch yet, but we have a left-hander by the name of Rio Britton that is a very, very good one, and we have a middle infielder that is very good by the name of Vinny Baccarat, and he's going to be a good one also. So we've got a couple of real good ones, and then we got some puppies that still have to learn a little bit. But listen, Karen and I will be in touch with you, and you and your wife will go out to dinner here in the next month, okay?
I would love that. And please tell the kids out there that I said hi, and I can't wait to meet them. And shoot, Coach, I just want to say thank you again, and I'll let you go. We'll talk soon, buddy.
Okay, Randy. Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, buddy. I want to thank everybody for listening to today's God's Miracle, and thank my special guest, Coach Guy Anderson, on the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. This is Randy Lerch saying bye-bye.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned Network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.